Hey, welcome back to the Step Out and Thrive podcast with me, Bethany Joy. And we're here again with Albert Pellissier. I think I said that right, the last name, and love his last name. So, before we get started, I want to make sure that you guys are in the right place. So, the Step Out and Thrive podcast is really for anyone who wants to do better in the relationships that they have with others. Whether you're a counselor and you see people one on one, or a coach, maybe you're a pastor, maybe you're a parent, maybe you're just someone out there that really wants to go beyond what's on the surface with other people and you want to make it safe. You want to make them feel seen. You want to make them feel secure. Well, this is the place where we talk about that. We go underneath the surface, we get to know people better, and we get to have amazing conversations. So we're glad you're here. And we're here with session. This is number 3, right? I think this is our third one together, Albert. I love having people on here that can go deeper and just have you walk away with the nugget. But you left us, my friend, on kind of a cliffhanger because you shared this amazing story. And if you haven't heard it, y'all, you need to go back. This isn't one of those episodes that you can watch or really listen to without understanding the whole story. So you really do at least need to go one episode back to hear more of Albert's story. But today he's going to finish the story. And my biggest question for you, Albert, is how is the story that you're sharing wrap us up to where you are now? How did you get to where you are now? And maybe what's a big takeaway that you can help us walk away with from your experience?
Okay, so just to catch people up, right? It was about my hair salon, and in the first episode, it was when the whole thing was crashing, and I had some aha moments. And in the last episode, it was really about reframing my purpose there. Instead of it being, a rental facility where my job was just to collect rent and, keep the roof from leaking. I really shifted and began to see it as a place of personal development. And the game changer was being in there, filling my present place, and then realizing that I could at least teach my tenants some basic business skills and business classes.
Yeah.
And, you know, pretty quickly into that, I did realize I didn't know a lot about the actual hair and beauty business. And so
Mm.
I started sharing the class time with, other people who were renting from me, but had really been in that business for decades. And the the changes that the people made who were coming to the classes as they, heard these best practices and just things they had never known. They prospered in a lot
Mm.
of cases, their own sales. I was thinking they would get a little boost, but their sales doubled or tripled, and in some cases quadrupled. And so it on two levels. One blew my mind of just how much people can really change when there are other people who are caring, in their community that are willing to share what's worked for them,
Mm.
their best tips and secrets and things like that. But what
Mm.
I ended up getting out of it personally, in addition to just the fulfillment of watching these people just really blossom and begin to succeed on a level they probably didn't imagine before, was it made me realize like how much I enjoyed teaching and sharing
Mm.
myself, which is
Wow.
something I really didn't do in there before because, my job, I saw my job differently.
Yeah.
And that led directly to a series of things of just like a desire to want to learn how to speak publicly, which led to Toastmasters and then the National Speakers Association, which then led to doing retreats and having a longer platform with people to be able to spend an entire weekend with a group of people. And it was all fulfilling, Bethany. All of that work, teaching and sharing. I realized I had so much more to give than I ever realized in previous. I was just, using it for my own benefit, but I didn't realize how much I would enjoy using the knowledge and the wisdom and just the love of teaching to share with a wider audience and to go deeper and to help them more.
Yeah, so when you were teaching and you were doing these retreats, what exactly was your material? Like, what were you talking about? Because the last thing you left us with is you kind of help people in your place, get to know their place, but also to help them grow their business, right? You were teaching them how to do that. So is that kind of the same tools that you took along, or did it develop into something else?
It started with that, but essentially, in order for me, and here's, I'm telling you this now, being able to look back on it,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
hindsight. I didn't know
yeah.
it then, I didn't realize, but in order for me to really step into what I now see as my calling,
Hmm.
I had to do a lot of work on myself. I had to make a lot of mindset shifts. I had
Mm,
to do a lot of healing. I had to do a lot of integration with like inner self-sabotage, um,
yeah,
in order to pull it off,
yeah,
in order to get
yeah,
over my own self-doubt, in order to believe in my own worth and not to feel, imposter syndrome. It took a
yeah.
lot of personal work.
Mm. Now, when
And
you
so,
say personal work, sorry to interrupt you.
yeah,
When you say personal work,
yeah.
was that done by yourself, or did you get others involved, or kind of what did that look like? What was
you
your
know,
journey like?
it was a lot of reading self-help books, but then it was hiring coaches,
Yeah.
hiring various practitioners who had, different offerings that I would take advantage of. I mean, some
Hmm.
of them were kind of out there. One lady would do this process with me where we would go back and explore things that had incidents that happened in my childhood, and she would just help me reimagine them. It was wildly transformational work. I was really open to everything and anything. I really enjoy being on the other side of that, and
Yeah.
having coaches. I love to be coached, and so I was just all in it, just this whole personal development journey. And some of the stuff I was doing was just so impactful to me. Even some simple, meditation ended up having a big impact on me.
Mm,
Some type of meditative breathing had impact on me. There were things that I had never even heard of before that were really just helping me transform rapidly. And so, what I ended up finding was I ended up just sharing the best of what worked for me with my clients. And
yeah.
then I started to just understand the problem in a different way. And then once I did, I hated to become, a hammer that sees everyone as a nail that needs the same thing. But the common denominator in all of it, Bethany, was in almost every case, it was some type of an inner conflict
Hmm.
that the person wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
And I was discovering them in myself. And as I resolved each inner conflict, I really could just rise up pretty dramatically.
Mm. Mm. That's amazing. I mean, and I'm wondering, as you were doing this, because you're at a different place now, of course, but a little bit different place, but as you're doing all of this work and you're talking about doing all this work with other people, do you continue to have a coach or someone else in your life that you continue to work with? Or was it one of those things like, you've worked through all that you need to do and now you're just able to pour into other people? Or what does that look like now?
It would kind of change over time. So at some point, I know a lot of your listeners, they are solo practitioners,
Hmm.
and a lot of them are just really they are answering their call, and they might not be completely sure if they have what it takes or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever I would, I felt like at some point I had the knowledge, and what I was lacking was really the ability to be able to sell lovingly, and have a
Mm.
sales process that I could talk to people and encourage them in the right way to invest in themselves, to, hire me because I knew what I could do for them.
Yeah,
But if you do it for free, you can only do it so much.
exactly.
You have to,
Yes.
if you do it for free, it has to be sort of a little side hustle, a part-time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to have the most impact, wouldn't it be great if you could actually, make a living doing it as well?
Exactly.
And so I evolved from like, these personal development coaches to really the person you and I have in common, which is
Hmm.
Justin Janowski. And I knew
Yes.
I knew I needed sales training. I'd never had any
Mm,
formal sales training. So
mm,
I had
mm.
ended up going to a retreat of his and joining his mastermind. And that was really the game changer of going from kind of a hobby to,
Yeah.
okay, this could actually be a real living. And even though some people have issues and inner blocks over money and whether it's right or not to make money helping people or not,
Mhm.
what I really truly ended up coming to understand is that if you can get people to invest in themselves, and you're charging them a fair price for whatever it is you're offering, you really are in the end are doing them a favor
Mhm.
by learning the skills to get them to see that it is an investment in themselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that changed the dynamic because before, very similar to the salon story, where I saw it as an exercise in as like a money making opportunity that wasn't helpful, and I shifted that frame to see that as, oh, this is my personal development, business development contribution. The same thing happened with my coaching. It's like, okay, this is not here to pay my electricity bill. The reason I'm selling this is because I know what I have for this person will truly help and transform their lives. And if I
Yeah.
don't learn how to sell to them, then I'm actually cheating them out of what I know is work that will benefit them. So,
Mm.
it's a
Mm.
subtle shift, but I know how important, that is. And
Yeah.
I think this is a big hurdle for a lot of coaches and
Oh,
people.
definitely. And one thing that I'm hearing from you, and I really think this is admirable because I do know so many people, Albert, that are trying to pour into other people by themselves. And here at Step Out and Thrive, we are really big, and I say we because there's other people that are part of this too. But as a community, my goal is to make sure that everyone at least has somebody within arm's reach that can help them out in whatever area that they're pouring out. So what I hear from you is that you are continuing to grow. You continue to have people like Justin Janowski and the Faith to Influence community in your corner where you can go and say, hey, I care about my business. I care about the people that I'm reaching out to so much that I need to make sure that I'm cared for as well. And that I have that community that I can bounce ideas off of. I can have community that asks me these hard and challenging questions, and I want to continue to grow. So in order to grow, you need that person or those people that can pour into you as well. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah, of course, because, okay, think about this. Probably every listener to your program, your podcast, right? They are pouring into other people's lives, right?
Yes.
That's what we all have in common on this channel. We're all, feel the call to take what we know and our life experience and pour into other people's lives to help them. Okay,
Yes.
you know what? Somebody has to pour into our lives, or we'll be empty. We have to
Right?
be refilled. We have to have some place where we can refill and we can recharge. And there's
Yes.
no better place than going to a group of people who are all like-minded, who are going through the same thing, right? Who can
Exactly.
encourage you and share how they're staying recharged and refilled.
Yes. Yeah, and you get to do life together, right? I mean, I think so many of us, at least for me, I had this idea when I was a little younger. I still like to say I'm young now, but a little younger, I had this idea. It's like if I just find the right person, they'll answer all the questions I need and get me to where I need to go. And as I'm becoming older, maybe you can speak to this. You're just a little bit older than me, Albert, not much.
That's
But
okay.
you maybe you can speak to this too. But I'm learning that it really isn't about getting to any kind of specific destination. It's more about having the right people that you do life with along the way. You want to have either people that are in front of you, you want to have people that are with you, and then you also want to make sure there's people behind you that you're reaching out to. So trying to have all three of those with you along the way. So can you speak into that? Am I on the right track there? Or maybe you have found that one person that's like, they solved everything for me and I'm good to go. So what do you think about that?
I do believe it's a constant evolution. And when here's one of my little quotes, right? The seed of your dream contains all of the medicine you need.
Oh,
And I'll
mm,
unpack that for you a little bit. In other words,
yeah.
if you have something that you're called to do and you're taking action on it, right?
Hmm.
It's not necessarily to get to the point where you say, oh, I've succeeded at this and I'm done and I've achieved it.
Right.
It's going to take a constant evolution of who you are, your personality, to really reveal your true soul.
Yeah.
And to continue on that path, you're gonna need help in various areas, right? So, in the brief explanation I just gave, where, at first it was public speaking, and
Hmm.
then I realized there were inner obstacles, and I needed to do some inner healing from my inner child.
Yeah.
uh, that was next, right? And then after that, then it becomes, okay, I have no problem standing on the stage, and I have no problem believing what I have is worth it, but I don't know how to sell it. So now I have to go find somebody who can teach me how to sell. Okay, is that the end of my troubles? No. then you're effectively selling it. Then what do you need? Then you need marketing and branding. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you need technology support. You need somebody that knows how to do your website and send out the emails automatically in your email marketing, So it never ends. It's only a
Mm.
matter of, are you going to continue to honor your calling and continue
Yeah.
to impact more people? And if you are, you're going to continue to need help because you cannot do
Yes.
it alone.
Yes. Exactly.
There's too much to do, and it's no fun either.
Yeah. Isn't that nice to just sit here? I mean, to the listeners or the people that are watching, just sit there for a second and give yourself permission that you do not have to do this alone. I wish somebody would have told me that years ago. And I'll be honest with you, and we're talking about the internal messages that we all battle with. One of the things that and I would say even still continue to a little bit, the mind shift that I'm still working through is that I thought with my physical challenges that I had to rise up and do more, and I didn't need to ask for help because that would give me more value. That would give me more, that was my identity was to do more and not ask for help because if I ask for help, that means I'm weak, right? So that's still an internal battle that I still struggle with. I'm like, wait a second, no, that story's false. I don't need that to be my identity. God is my identity. God is who I'm living for, and God has given me all the power and the source that I need. But because of him, I can also be in a deep relationship with other people, and we can do this together, which makes it even bigger and more amazing than I can ever think and imagine, right? Because that's what community is for. So sharing all this with you and your journey, you've taken us from the barbershop. I call it the barbershop, but the barbershop community. What was that called, by the way, Albert? Does that
It's
have a name
called
to it?
it's called Salon Studios.
Salon Studios. Okay, because I was wondering that the other day. I'm like, wait a second. So Salon Studios, you started out there and you still have that or no?
That's it. No, I do. I've had it for 17 years now. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you still have that. And then you said you did all of this training and now you're pouring into other people. So if we could sum up what you're doing right now, what gives you the most energy? Because it sounds like you've got the salon studio, but then you got other stuff that you're doing. How? A, how are you doing it all? But B, what is it that you're doing right now that is giving you the energy and the passion to continue to do what you're doing?
So from the say like the business management point, just so that part doesn't seem like a miracle, I read a book one time and it said if you own one thing, design it as if you own 500.
Hmm.
Because if you design it as if you own 500, would you do the same things with the one?
Yeah.
That would be impossible to do with 500. So whenever I have a business like that needs to be managed, I design it in a way where it doesn't need me to be there all the
Hmm.
time because I couldn't be there if it was 10 locations or 500 locations. So
Yeah,
if I wouldn't have to be there for 500, then I don't really have to be there for one.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I'll give you one just little thing that saved me 4 hours a month. It was going to get the toilet paper from the janitorial supply company. It's like, okay, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but a lot of owners would, it's like, oh, one thing you could do, you go drive there, but it takes half hour to get there and you get your order, you put it in your car, truck, you take it there, you unload it. It would take an hour or hour and a
Yeah.
half. And it had to be done every week. And at some point I said, oh, you know what? What if I just paid the janitorial company who comes to clean every day? What if they just picked them up on their way and I would pay them $25? And they were happy to do it. They could get exactly what they needed. I left my credit card on file and I recaptured 6 hours a month of my time for
Wow.
$100.
Wow.
You
So
know,
what
and
I'm hearing
so
too is the relationships that you're having with these people, because you wouldn't have done that if you didn't really trust, right? If you had built some kind of rapport with these people too. So what I'm hearing from you is because of the investment that you made in this community, you're able to trust and literally give away some of your roles, so to speak, and trust these people with these leadership opportunities. Because what you're giving them is leadership. You're giving them your credit card. I mean, you have to trust somebody to give them your credit card,
yeah,
just
now the
saying.
credit card stays at the janitorial supply company, so they have it.
Yeah.
They're trustworthy, but
Yeah.
the janitorial company who actually comes in and does the cleaning, they just go get what they need and they charge it.
There
And
you
yes,
go.
I do trust them. And I have another guy, and he had fallen behind on his rent one time, and he's in there, he's a tenant, and he was having trouble like paying the extra back, And I said, look,
Yeah.
I need the plants watered in the fountain, make sure there's always water in it. And so now he
Mm,
does it, and he just sends me a little note, and I reduce, what he had owed
yeah.
me, which he was
Wow.
maybe going to struggle or stress out about paying. And now he has a way to pay it back. And that's another, hour or so every other week. So I just always do things like that, to
Mm,
just anything that I can delegate, I delegate. So it
yeah.
doesn't take up a lot of my time so that I can spend my time, doing this kind of work.
Yeah. So again, you're reminding us you don't have to do it alone. I hope we're walking away with that today. You do not have to do it alone. That seems to be the recurrent, but you got to catch us up. What are you doing right now, Albert?
Okay,
And
so now what I
yeah.
do is I work with some people locally. I have an
Mhm.
office. It's at a little kind of a healing center type place, and
Oh, cool.
so I do workshops there. I do group work there. I do private clients there. Take them through like a private coaching client. I do private
Mm,
coaching clients there.
yeah.
I also do these men's retreats, and I do that usually 3 times a year. And I'll take 8 men for an entire weekend, a 3 or 4 day weekend. We go away from the city. I rent a house. It's a little farm in Louisiana. It's like
Cool.
20 acres of rolling hills, and it's close
Wow.
to the airport, the New Orleans airport. So I have people fly in from around the country, and we go there for 2 or 3 days, and I really just give them the whole package. And
Mm,
essentially, what's happening there is really what my book is about. It's the same process. My book is essentially the same process that I take men through on a retreat, which
mm,
is in the short version, is to discover the inner conflict, the kind of the personality, I don't know if you've ever done any IFS work. Have you ever heard of
yes.
We've done
Oh
that?
yeah.
It's very
Oh
similar
yeah.
to IFS work where you're identifying, some sort of a subconscious aspect of your personality that's getting in your way.
Mm,
It's programmed in typically from childhood, and it's just working against you is the bottom line, but you
yeah.
don't know it. So it's identifying that and then teaching these guys how to resolve that permanently,
Wow.
and then be able to walk back out on a Sunday with
Mm,
clear vision of where they're going and what they really want to do. And now without that obstacle, constantly self-sabotaging them. A lot of times it's like an inner critic,
yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah.
or
Mm-hmm.
anger, just some sort of unhealthy anger.
Yeah.
I do lack of just thinking they're good enough,
Right. Or
some sort of
believe. Right.
doubt in there.
Yeah.
To me, the hammer and the nail analogy I was talking about earlier is I always find if people aren't doing what they really want to do,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 99.9 just to be gracious. 99.9% of the time,
Yeah.
it's a character in their subconscious, an aspect of their personality that doesn't think it's a good idea to do whatever it is they really want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and they're not going to do it until that's resolved. This,
Exactly.
this is why
Wow.
this is why you can have fits and starts of starting something and then quitting or not following through. It's because there's another part of your personality that just doesn't want it to happen. It doesn't think it's a good idea. And you're
Mm.
not going to win that battle.
No, exactly. Wow. Wow. So many good things here. And what reminds me is that you're talking, it's just that awareness of when we realize there's another way, when we realize there's a different way of thinking about it, when that comes to our consciousness, we can really train and build new neural pathways, right, to do it differently. And so that's what I hear you saying. And wow, what an amazing opportunity that you're giving these men to be able to experience that. And I think on the next episode, we're going to talk a little bit more because I'm sure some of our listeners are like, okay, how? What are the steps I need to take, Albert? You can't leave me. So, yeah, we're going to leave you again on another cliffhanger. We're really good at that, aren't we, Albert?
Yeah, you're great. You know how to do it. You could probably get people to watch a whole season of something.
Right? You can binge watch it. And this isn't planned. We just kind of like let it go. And so I've loved our conversation so far. So help people if they want to get in contact with you, Albert. How? How do they get in contact with you? How do they find you?
Just go to backburnerbook.com and there's a link there to buy the book if you want. All the worksheets are free forever. You can download them as many as you need. And then there's also a link that says work with Albert if you want to have a quick chat with me about what I can do. If you were willing to work directly and just get right in here and get this kind of thing done and find that big obstacle and resolve it for good.
I love that. Thank you, Albert. And we've been talking a lot today about doing life with community, and that is what we do here at Step Out and Thrive. And if you're at one of those people out that's like, you know what, I don't have community, I don't even know where to start. Well, Albert's a great place to start. But you can also check out the Check In Thursday group and checkinthursday.com. You can just come to a group and just share what's going on in a safe place. Begin the journey. I hope you're hearing from me and Albert both today. We really want you to do life with other people, and we want to give you that opportunity to do that. So I'm hoping you'll take up me or Albert on our offers, and you'll make this week different because we always need to dare to do more than just survive. Step out, choose that next step, and thrive. All right, see you guys back here next week. Bye.